Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Merry Christmas Eve. Tonight I've been asked by SICW Herb Simmons to share this video. So I'm doing that. So welcome to SICW All-Star Wrestling 12/24/23. Enjoy the show. I'll be in and out, of course, just like everybody else is doing. I'm wrapping gifts, putting them under the tree. I am a house parent. My wife and I run the emergency shelter here at Fort Walton, at an emergency shelter in Florida. So yeah, so it's like a lot of things to do, and I wanted to put something up. And this live show, this show that I'm going to air is SICW All-Star Wrestling, and it's on from Herb Simmons in St. Louis. If you paid attention, I've had a couple of their wrestlers on this show to interview them. Last week, I had Sean Vincent, your Canadian hero. So I've had the Big Texan. I've had Gary Jackson on here. And I have a slew of other guys coming from SICW. So just an awesome place. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the show, guys.
Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to this week's edition of SICW All-Star Wrestling. I'm here tonight, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. We want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. It's coming up. And tonight I've got a very, very special guest, somebody that's really close to the business, but really close to me. Been a great friend for many, many years. She makes her home now in Florida, but she's came all the way here to be part of this week's edition here in the SICW studios. And I'm speaking another, you hear us talk about her all the time, Darla Staggs. Darla?
Hi.
Cold back here in Illinois, isn't it?
It's cold. I can't wait to get back to Florida, but I am so happy to be here. I'm so glad that this is the second time I've seen you this week. And it's just.
And I'm honored. I'm telling you.
I am too.
Mickey was honored. You know, we got to spend time together at the little get together. All the locker room people were just tickled to death. You surprised all of them.
Yeah.
Of course,
I told you, I said, let's keep it a surprise. And you did.
But a few of them said when they saw I was traveling to St. Louis, they knew I was coming. And it's always good to be home. It's always great to see my friends or my family with SICW. I love everybody.
Well, and, you know, when you speak about the family, you know, you have been that, and I tell the story all the time, and our viewers have heard me tell it probably, but I'm going to tell it again. You were probably born, I know you were in your dad's arms back in 1959 at the Akil Auditorium.
January 1959, I saw Pat O'Connor beat Dick Hutton for the NWA title.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there. I don't remember.
Right,
but
I got the card.
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool. You know that when you said that took place, I said, "Well, I got that card." You know, Pat O'Connor and Dick Hutton, and your dad running around the ring, holding you in his arms.
Ring with me. Yeah.
So I mean, so that's why I tell everybody she was born, I think, at a wrestling match.
Just about.
Because she has been a fan forever and ever, and as she said, a good SICW supporter. And when you lived up in Minnesota, you know, we were sad when you left and went up there, but your career, your job took you up there,
yes.
and now that you're that retired, you and Barbara Goodish, you know, down in Florida, two of the ladies of wrestling, the queens, we call you.
I love it. I love being so close to Barbara.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. We're going to talk more about Barbara Goodish tonight, and I'm sure we'll talk about Pam and the whole group, because, you know, when you see one, you usually see all three of them, and boy, that's a trifecta, believe me. I've been with them. So, but, you know, so speaking of your wrestling career, you started off at a young age, and I know you've told the story before, but maybe some of our viewers haven't heard it. How did Darla become so in love with wrestling?
Well, Herb, honestly, it's just because, my parents took me when I was a young child, and then my grandparents, we had season tickets right on the aisle at Kiel where they walked down. My grandma, I come by it honestly, my grandma had to always sit on the aisle. I can remember her saying, I have to touch the sweat on their backs when they walk by. So it's been instilled in me my entire life. And then when I was old enough, 16, I wasn't a cheater like Gary Jackson was. I started going to wrestling at the Chase. I never missed one from 1974 until the end of the Sam and Larry era, or Kiel Auditorium. Through going to the Chase and the Kiel, that's where I met Juanita, that many of you will know as Sapphire. Gosh, I miss her. And she started introducing me to people. She introduced me to Larry, and I became good friends with him. And through her and Larry and attending the Chase, I just started meeting the wrestlers and became friends with many, many of them I met.
Oh yeah, there's many of them. There's none of the boys in the business or the ladies out there that if you mention Darla's name, they know about Darla, and it's always in a good way. Here in St. Louis, I mean, as she said, Kiel Auditorium or wrestling at the Chase. The Chase was the place to be. The studio where you would go.
Yes.
Be out there with, like you said, Juanita, Virginia Mason, all the ladies that would show up and take photographs. And, you talked about Gary Jackson. As you know, we had him on last week.
Yes,
and,
I watched it.
We talked about him being snuck into the back door at the wrestling at the Chase. Mickey Garagiola would take care of that. But you didn't cheat. You waited.
I waited till I was 16.
But, you got to meet so many of the legends back in the day, the Pat O'Connors, the Harley Races, the Dick the Bruisers, and anybody who wrestled there, you became friends with them.
Yes.
And so many fans remember those great days. What was it like when you were there, and then you'd be there after the matches were over with, and the Pat O'Connors or the Bruiser Brodies or Ric Flairs, which I know that's not one of your favorites, but that's a story for another day. But what was it like being able to just see the personal side of them outside of that ring?
Well, it was just a joy to be around. I don't, in the very beginning, I was awestruck because they were like movie stars to me. And then when I started meeting and becoming friends, I'm like, these guys are just people like me.
Yeah.
And it was never hard for me or difficult to talk to any of them. I will tell you this. I found out that most of the heels were the nicest. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say that, but most of them were, and the most fun to be around.
Right. And again, you got to see so many of the great matches that took place there. And I know we all have our favorites. I don't think you can just name one. I couldn't. But do you have a top match that you can remember either at Wrestling at the Chase or at the Kiel Auditorium?
At the Kiel Auditorium, it would have been any time Jack Briscoe and Dory Funk Jr. fought each other. Those are my all-time favorite matches. I always wanted to see a match between Jack and Jerry and Dory and Terry, but I was never fortunate. I've seen it on television, but not in person. Right. But anytime Jack and Dory, it was a good 1 hour match. They always win an hour.
Oh yeah. It's and they could go and they could tell the story. And
yes.
For those viewers out there, Briscoe's, Funk's names in St. Louis, household names, and they gave you your money's worth, and anywhere they went really, but St. Louis, and we always talk about that, and I'm sure, Darla, you will agree, because you've heard many of the workers say that if you didn't make it to St. Louis, you really didn't make it in the business, and I think that you've heard that many, many times.
Oh,
I know I have.
Yes.
And it's right. I mean, Sam required the best of the best, and that's what he would do. He would bring the cream of the crop to St. Louis for the fans, and they never disappointed the fans, I can tell you.
No, they didn't.
Right. So let's talk about here a few years ago, because you grew up. We kind of surprised you at the Fan Fest this last May, um, to the fact that you were well deserving of the Sam Muchnick Award. What did you think about that?
That meant everything to me because, number one, I did consider myself a friend to Sam. I consider him to be the best promoter anywhere ever. And I can remember Sam always said he didn't like the word mark. His fans were never called marks by him. And I don't care where he saw you, people stood out there by the stage door at Kiel, and he'd come walking up, and it didn't matter how busy he was. He always took time to stop and talk to his fans. And he treated us like people, like human beings. And I've been all over the United States, and some promoters aren't like that.
Yeah. Well, and that was the one thing that he had instilled up in Larry and myself, that, without the fans, you're going to have an empty stadium, an empty school gymnasium, or whatever it may be. Because if you don't respect the fans who's coming and spending their hard-earned money, you're just going to have an empty building there to perform in front of. And of course, you have to have the great talent, and that's why Sam required bringing in the Funks, the Briscoes, the O'Connors, the Harley Races, the Johnny Valentines, and like I said, one of your favorites, John Paul Henning. How did I know that, right? But all those names that Sam would reach out to and bring them in, it's just, that's what made St. Louis so great. And that's kind of what we were doing here at SICW. We say it all the time. We're just building on the foundation that Sam Muchnick actually built, and then was carried on by way of our good friend Larry Matisek.
So just one more thing. I have my plaque, because if you weren't at the Fan Fest, you didn't see the plaque, but the plaque has a picture of Sam on it and a picture of myself on it. And I absolutely love it. So I have it displayed in a glass case next to my Friendship Award from CAC that I received in 2010, and my action figure of Larry.
There you go. I mean, that's you can't.
That's what says it all.
You can't ask for more than that, because when we speak of Sam, you were well deserving of that award, just the same as next year. We've already announced that Gary Jackson, our guest last week, for all of his contribution to the business there in St. Louis and all over. He is another one that got to know Sam, worked for Larry, well deserving. And of course, the year before, our good friend Barbara Goodish got the Sam Muchnick Award. And, we came up with the idea, Nick Rednauer, that, Sam meant so much for the business that we needed to start an award and name people each year that has had an impact or made a contribution to the business. And like I said, you were right there. I couldn't think of anybody better. Just the same with Gary Jackson for the 2024 award. But so I know your friendship with Sam, and then along comes Larry, and you and I have had hours and hours of those talks. We watched it, Larry in his prime. We watched him deteriorate with his health issues, but even towards the end, he would always get perked up when you would call him. And when you made that final trip in, I think that he was holding on for that. And I can't, and I know I've told you this before, but I can't thank you enough for making that trip in, because that's really, I think, what he was wanting, because you and him were so close. Barbara, the writing the book together, but you were one of those, not only a fan, but you were a good friend to Larry. Am I right on target with that?
Yeah, you are. And, that was so strange that I was able to come home then, because that's right at Thanksgiving, and I usually was never able to get off work. Something kept telling me, you got to go home. You got to go home. You got to see Larry. And, besides my family, I have to include them.
Right.
Larry was always my number one priority to see. And Barbara kept telling me, and you kept telling me, Larry's going to make it until you get here. And he did. And I got to spend that last hour with him. And,
yeah,
you know, he told me he loved me, he squeezed my hand.
Yeah. Tough time. And
I still miss him.
So like I said, we know about her relationship with Sam, what she thought about how he promoted, how he run the business, about the great friendship she had with Larry. Let's take a minute right now and just show you what we're talking about when she received that Sam Muchnick Award at the Fan Fest one, and you'll see what we're talking about.
This next young lady, you and I was talking earlier, watched her first wrestling match or attended her first wrestling match in 1959. You know how long ago that's been? 64 years ago, I think. So, oh, okay, thanks. We got to make these guys happy. But 64 years ago, this young lady attended a match at Kiel Auditorium. Everybody know where that used to be at? And they say, well, she's not that old. But this time, I'm not going to invite a few people up to the ring to help her celebrate this moment, Miss Darla Staggs. Can you join us up? As I said, 1959, she was being held in her arms by her father while she attended a match at the Kiel Auditorium and witnessed Pat O'Connor take on Dick Hutton for the NWA title. And when that match took place, her father got so excited he ran around the ring holding Darla in his arms. So Darla, as we know, you've been a wrestling fan. And she doesn't look like she's that old, right?
I'm 65.
So anyway, Darla was selected by the board of directors to this year receive the Sam Muchnick Award for the outstanding job that she's done as a fan. She served on the board of Cauliflower Alley. She works all of the men and women in the business on the Benevolent Association. She's got her family here with her tonight. She's got to turn around and say, we love you and all your wrestling. And the one thing I know for sure, with Sam Muchnick talking about you and Larry Madison talking about you is next to none. Congratulations on being the award winner of the Sam Muchnick Award. You come up here, can you come up here, Darla? Can you, Barbara, can you come up here? We gotta get a photo op because these three young ladies are known as the queens of professional wrestling. You know, Jimmy, you know, when you talk about the queens of professional wrestling, you gotta have three young ladies. You gotta believe it. So one time I had 25 and blonde girls, remember? Oh yeah. So Jimmy knows all about the lovely ladies. But these ladies are considered the queen of when we go to Las Vegas every year. That's what they're referred to. And I wanted them to share in this honor. Barbara was the recipient of the Sam Muchnick Award last year. And we really love all three of you, and I know you're wrestling fan, you know, also. Look at my buddy Scott here, he's a good photo of you there. And now they want you to look this way. And
That's what we're talking about. That was at the SICW Fan Fest 1, and we're going to talk about SICW Fan Fest 2 here in just a little bit. But you know, you as a fan and as a great friend are a part of all of this. I mean, Ed Wheatley and the Head Over Heels TV show, program that was done you got to come in town and go through that. And of course, you were supposed to be a little, I'm going to go in and do a little interview. And I don't know how many hours you sit in there and take one, take two, and all this. And but what was your thoughts of how that portrayed the wrestling at the Chase program?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
It was very well put together. Everyone who had appearances in it, everybody did a wonderful job. And, it just really makes me feel honored and happy that I've never been in the wrestling business except sell tickets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get that.
But to be included with all of these legends, yourself and your guys, to be able to do this type of stuff, it's great.
Oh,
I love it.
If you haven't seen the documentary, you should have. It's been out a couple of years now, called Head Over Heels. We want to thank our good friend Ed Wheatley, who put the second Wrestling at the Chase book together. Of course, as you know, Larry did the first Wrestling at the Chase, great book. But Ed did a coffee table book full of photos, pictures, and then we went on and I helped him with both the book and with Head Over Heels. So if you haven't saw that PBS documentary, you need to check out Head Over Heels, because you heard Darla say it was excellent put together. A lot of people on there, you'll recognize a lot of them that took part in that. And what I want to do right now is just take a few moments and hear from one of our sponsors. And then we come back, we got a lot more to talk about with our special guest, Darla Staggs.
It's back, May 17th and 18th, SICW Fan Fest 2. Tickets available at SICW.org. Meet the stars of professional wrestling, up close and personal. Wendy Richter, Tito Santana, Steve Kern, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, Haku, Coco Beware, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., Leilani Kai, Tim Storm, Sal Renaro, Brian Blair, Tommy Rich, Abdullah the Butcher, the Boogie Woogie Man, Manny Fernandez, Godfather, Rock and Roll Express, Jim Brunzell, Teddy Long, and Mac Davis, Bill After, and many more. Don't miss the SICW Fan Fest and St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. It all starts with the Bill After one-man show on Friday and the Fan Fest and Hall of Fame on Saturday. Be there.
Wrestling fans, one of SICW's newest sponsors for FanFest 2 is KC Insurance. For all your insurance needs, look to KC Insurance. Wrestling fans, you looking for the best in daily lunch specials and great menu food items? Look no further than Layla's Roadhouse, 440 Falling Springs Road in Cahokia Heights, Illinois. That's right, a family sit-down dining and always great specials. Also has the best pizza in the area.
Can't do it without our sponsors, and we appreciate each and every one of them that help us out to bring you these programs each and every Sunday night right here on your social media platform or your TV, whichever you're watching us on. Darla, we talk about being at the first match in your dad's arm in 1959. We talk about how you meet Sam, Juanita, who wrestled for me as Princess Dark Cloud,
Yes.
went on to be Sapphire, Dusty Rhodes valet. You've had a run of all of this. Sam Muchnick Award, your friendship with Larry, next to none, as I tell people. But I know there's something else that's just as dear to your heart as anything, and that's the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I say that because I see the passion you have for that. As a benevolent representative, I see how you show concern for the men and women who have fallen on hard times. Tell our viewers right now just exactly what that Cauliflower Alley Club means to you and what it's meant to other people.
So I have been a member of Cauliflower Alley and been going to their reunions since 2004. And about 3 years ago, I was approached by the board asking me if I would be interested in taking over as the benevolent chairperson. I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. I said, I got to talk to Herb. So I talked to Herb about it. He agreed that I should do it. So I told him I would give it a try. I've been doing that for 3 years now. And about a year and a half ago, I was voted in as part of the executive board. And so just what we do is we're a nonprofit organization. We help out wrestlers that fall on hard times. Could be just they've lost a job, could be medical issues. And the money that we raise, it comes from memberships and fundraisers at our reunion. So what happens is if they need help, there's a form that they fill out on our website, and it's caulifloweralleyclub.org. They email it to me, and then I contact them and go into a little more depth as to what their need is. And we go over everything, and then I write up my report and I send it to the board, and they have to vote on it, and the majority rules. And that's what we do, and we love doing it. That's what Cauliflower Alley is all about.
Well, and as you heard Gary Jackson and I talk about it last week, you don't have to be a worker in the business. You can be a fan and to join.
Correct.
And it's an annual due that you can pay, or you can be a lifetime member. And we encourage all of the workers out there. I always say it's like a supplemental insurance policy that they can help out, that they can use, as long as they meet the criteria that the executive board has put out in their guidelines. But it's definitely a worthy cause. It's been around. What year this coming up is what the
58th year.
Yes, reunions. And like I said, we go out there. It's a great time. It's a great way to network for you young men and women out there who are in the business. If you haven't made it, you need to put it on your bucket list, because I guarantee you, once you go out there, you're going to get hooked. You're going to see all of these guys. You're going to sit around and tell stories. They're going to tell you road stories. They've got, this last year we were sitting there, the CM Punk was at our table next to us. Rey Mysterio was there. And the list just goes on and on of the who's who are in the business. So we really encourage you, go to Cauliflower Alley website. And as Darla said, the application on there, you can fill out to become a member, pay your dues. And if not, or you can contact me directly, and I will help you out. I'm supposedly the ambassador or whatever.
He does a great job at it.
Well, I'm just trying to get the word out there, because all the promoters out there, if any of you are watching it, if you haven't got your locker room at least looking at becoming a member, you should, because it's a good way to get them involved and be a part of a great organization. And when you've got somebody like Darla there at the head of the helms, not only as the benevolent person, but she's on the executive board. And like I said, I can only see things getting better for the Cauliflower Alley organization, and as we move forward. But so that's another feather in your cap with the Cauliflower Alley. So now you're in Florida. You're down there with a lot of the retired workers. Barbara Goodish is there, and we talk about Barbara all the time. For those of you who don't know, Barbara Goodish, the widow of the late great Bruiser Brody, King Kong Brody, whatever you want to call him. I called him my friend, dear friend. Tell me what Barbara Goodish has meant to Darla.
She's my best friend. I love her dearly. Last year she came in a couple of days early because she wanted to spend time with my family and get to know them, because she loves kids and she doesn't have grandchildren. So she's trying to do that again this year. But, I can call Barbara no matter what time of the day is. If I need to ask her something, or I just need her to cheer me up, and she's always there for me.
Always bubbly. I mean, she's
And
always.
I'm always there for her. And now we're having fun going to all these music shows that.
Poor Sam's getting more out of it. He's playing music every night. And you're there. Tell him play more songs.
Yeah, we're his groupies.
there you go. His groupies. And then Pam came down.
Pam was there in November and spent a week. And I just had a text from her this morning, and she's trying to plan her next trip.
Oh, wow. Well, for those of you who may not know, we're talking about J.J. Dillon's daughter. These three run together. Like I said, it's a trifecta. And when you get them together, whether it's in Iowa at the Tragus Fez Hall of Fame, or out at the Cauliflower Alley, or now if it's down in Florida, you can hear the rumblings. And it's all good. Three lovely ladies that they got stories just like we're sitting here today talking about. If you want to hear some great stories about J.J. Dillon, one of the greatest minds of the business ever, I can sit and talk to him, and I have spent many a time sitting and talking with him, having a few beverages, and he's got more road stories and that just keep you entertained. So our thoughts are always with J.J. Dillon, and hopefully maybe he'll join us here in next year. So you never know.
I hope so.
Things are looking up for FanFest too. So that's a segue. And let's do that. Let's take a break real quick, come back, and then we're going to talk about what Darla thinks, what she thought about SICW FanFest 1, and if she's going to come to FanFest 2. We'll be right back after these words.
Wrestling fans, there's nothing better than barbecue and wrestling. When you're hungry, stop by Mr. Barbecue with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and Waterloo, Illinois. Great barbecue, cold beverages, and SICW wrestling. Wrestling fans, for all your used car needs, visit Auto Plaza St. Peter's and speak with Christina Price. The used car industry has a great asset in Christina. Visit autoplazastpeters.com for additional information.
Well, there you have it. Another great sponsor. We really, really appreciate each and every one of you for helping out. And anybody else who is interested in becoming a sponsor to help put these shows together to bring you the best in professional wrestling. And yes, we're talking professional wrestling. Next month, we'll be back doing the regular TV tapings. We'll be back on schedule. But right now, I wanted to have these people come in, like the Gary Jacksons, like the SICW champion, the Big Texan, and now my good friend Darla, to just kind of tell you through their eyes what they've seen all these years in the business. So, FanFest 1. Everybody thought I was crazy. I know you did. You kept calling me and saying, "Herb, what are you doing? Are you sure this is going to work?" And of course, my response was, "Darla, I don't know if it's going to work, but we won't know unless we try."
But it worked.
So what was your impression last May when we had the Bruiser Brody, Larry Matisek, Tony Costa Memorial that we do every year, tied in with the reunion of Wrestling at the Chase, and then SICW FanFest 1? 50 legends.
50 legends. Wow. It was great.
And special
It was,
guests.
I don't attend a lot of fan fest. First of all, I'll be honest with you. The reason I don't attend them is I'm not going to pay the high prices they're asking for. And yours, when I saw those prices, I'm like, Herb, are you sure that's all you're
That's what
charging?
you kept telling me.
That was my biggest concern, that you weren't charging enough money, but apparently you did. Everything worked well. The fans were all happy. And you're crazy enough to do a fan fest too.
Well, and again, this last May, and we talk about last year. It wasn't last year. It was just this last May that we did it at the Aviator Hotel and Ballroom in South St. Louis, and like I said, over 50 legends and special guests. For those of you who didn't attend, for those of you who were watching that did, I hope you feel the same way Darla did. It was great. It was a logistic nightmare to put it all together, but when you surround yourself with good people, it makes it a lot easier. And I had a lot of help organizing it and making sure that people got from point A to point B, working with the hotel. Nick Reddenauer, our senior referee, played a major part in putting it together. But there were other people behind the scenes. I couldn't do it without my family. But you fans who came out and supported it. And Darla was right. I wanted to keep it feasible for people to come. I wanted the legends who were taking time out of their schedule to come and be able to mingle with the fans, sign the autographs, sell their pictures. I wanted everybody to be able to make money. So if you come in there and set that price too high, then you're taking away from the possibility of everybody making their money on their trips, because they have to come in, they have to set up hotels and things of that sort. But you're right, we're crazy again. So in 2024, it's already been booked. And of course, what I get accused of all the time is you can't just be happy, Herb, with what you did in May. You've got to try to outdo it.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, that's what Larry always said. If it's not worth doing bigger, then why do it if you're just going to repeat the same thing? So this year, our good friend, in fact, he was going to come in this last May, Mr. Bill Apter, but in May, it was on Mother's Day weekend.
And his anniversary.
And of course, as I told him when he kind of had to bow out, I said, Bill, happy wife, happy life. There will be more wrestling, because if anybody knows Bill Apter, he has been in the wrestling business with the magazines, and he has made more careers for some of these wrestlers. Because back in the day when he was traveling around the world following these wrestlers and taking their pictures, there was no cell phone cameras and no internet. So he was out there taking pictures of them when they were out there doing their job and getting it in the magazines and letting us fans know who they were and where they were at and what they were doing. So Bill had to bow out in May. So when we came up with a date, I talked to him and he said, it's not a Mother's Day, is it? I said, nope. I said, it's the weekend after. He said, well, then I'm in. So he's going to come in and do a VIP night on the Friday night, May 17th, the Bill Apter's one-man show. And if you've never seen Bill Apter's one-man show, I'm telling you, you're in for a treat. There's a limited number of tickets available for that Friday night that he will be doing it there in the smaller ballroom. But then he'll be with us on Saturday also. But so we've added the Friday night if you buy the ticket for that. But then Saturday, the Fan Fest starts at 10 a.m. in the morning, and it will go all day. And you've been following some of the names that I hope you have. I mean,
duh.
And in fact, Dr. D. David Schultz was one of the first ones that we talked about. Good friend of yours, and Barbara.
And do you remember what I had to say about him before I met him?
Yeah, you didn't like him.
I called Larry. I said, Larry, is Herb crazy? I said, nobody wants to see that guy. I said, he's the guy that beat up that reporter. Oh my gosh, he was so amazing. I so loved him.
Yeah, Dr. D. David Schultz. Next one, we right away jumped on board, didn't even have to wait. Our good friend B. Brian Blair, the president, CEO of the Cauliflower Alley Club. So again, you'll be able to talk to him if you don't join between now and May of 2024. You'll be able to talk to the president, CEO. You'll be able to talk to. You're going to come, aren't you?
I've already got my ticket for Bill's show. I've got my ticket for the Fan Fest. My hotel room is booked, and Bill Apter has promised that he is going to sing Can't Smile Without You for me, Pam, and Barbara.
He does karaoke better than anybody I know, so
yes.
That's worth coming to see Bill Apter, if nothing else. But B. Brian Blair jumped right on and said, Herb, give me the date. I'll be there. Because in May, he was going through some medical issues. Couldn't make it. He wanted to come in, but he was the second one that jumped on board. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. You know, the Rock and Roll Express, the Godfather, Abdullah the Butcher. Just recently, I announced Sergeant Slaughter is going to be joining us there. It's not a fan fest without some law and order, and the Sarge will come and do that, as you well know. But, you know, Manny Fernandez is signed on with us, and I don't have the entire list with us, but if you're on social media, just go to my page or go to SICW, and you can just see we've announced different legends every day, just about. But that Saturday we'll also have the class of 2024 inductees for the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame that was started years ago by Larry and myself and a few other members, Nick Rednire, that put that together. Lalani Kai is going to be inducted, a good friend of yours. Judy Martin, Wendy Richter's going into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., and then the gentleman who helped start wrestling at the Chase with Sam Muchnick, because he had the television, Mr. Koppler is being inducted in, and his grandson, Bob Koppler, will be there to accept the award on his late grandfather's behalf. And then just recently, the gentleman who actually helped train Larry, and Larry kind of used him as his mentor, George Abel was the ring announcer. Play-by-play announcer. And Larry, I remember Larry always saying, you know, man, George is so perfectionist about what he does, and I really like listening to him and watching him. So George Abel will go into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and his son Chris will be coming in from Texas to be there to accept the that award for his late father. So, you know, it's every day something being done, and we're still about 6 months away. And I think the last I counted with the legends and the special guest, we got some of the Glow Girls, that three of them.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That we've announced. So it's getting bigger and better. There's still some bigger surprises out there. I shouldn't say bigger, but more surprises out there that if they come true, I want to thank people like GT Collectibles, Scott Wilder Promotion, some of these other vendors, a couple other promotions from around the country. Our friend Troy Peterson is going to be coming in and says he's going to bring somebody in. Scotty Z from New Breed Wrestling has contacted me. So if any of you promoters are out there watching, and if you want to be a part of SICW Fan Fest 2 and become part of some history being made here, get a hold of me. I'm pretty easy to find on social media.
Yeah.
I don't hide from anybody. But so,
his light's always green.
Oh, exactly. So I want to take one more break for another little commercial, and then we'll come right back and we'll wrap this up. Thank you.
Wrestling fans, for all your massage needs, visit the Restorative Massage Center located inside the Sheer Techniques Salon in Troy, Illinois. Masseuse Shauna has been a licensed massage therapist for over 10 years, and she customizes each massage to meet the needs of her clients, performing Swedish deep tissue and trigger point therapy. For all your massage needs, contact Shauna with the Restorative Massage Center. The vendors are lining up for FanFest 2 on Saturday, May 18th, 2023 at the Aviator Hotel and Casino in St. Louis, Missouri. We're happy to welcome the Nebraska Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame as one of our newest sponsors.
Okay, once again, thanks to all of our sponsors who each and every week make it possible for us to be here. And you've been listening to my good friend Darla Staggs, who came in from Texas to be here in the studio with us.
Florida.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe you'll be going to Texas. You were in Minnesota, now you're in Florida. You've been in Granite City, you've been in Hamel. So I'm just trying to get you.
You're getting me everywhere.
Came all the way in from Florida to be here with us. And we really appreciate that. But we've been talking about her experience from when she was a little bitty baby being held in her father's arm back in 1959 at the Kiel Auditorium. Kind of walks you through and again, I know it's a big time span, and we're wrapping it all up here in a short time to fit the show here. But we've been talking about her involvement with wrestling at the Chase, wrestling in general, but St. Louis was always her home. And you've always been an SICW fan.
I have since, well, let's see, how long you been going? 50 years?
51 years in February.
Probably the whole entire time.
See, and if this was an X-rated show, I could tell some stories about the Kelly twins and people like that when we come to your house.
And Gypsy Joe
and Tojo and Frank Morrell.
Yeah, they all stayed there.
They all was there. So we used to have fun. It was great. But no, I'm kidding about the X-rated. It was all fun. It was all good. It was great sitting around with Darla and her family and just talking to business like we do right here each and every week. So since we're talking about, and this is a wrestling show, SICW All-Star Wrestling, we're going to take you back and show you some footage of another one of those great classics from Wrestling at the Chase.
The main event, an Australian tag team match, one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from St. Joseph, Missouri, weighing 252 pounds, Mike George. From Nashville, Tennessee, weighing 313 pounds, Buzz Tyler. From Portland, Oregon, weighing 229 pounds, Jesse Barr. And from Reno, Nevada, weighing 253 pounds, Dick the Bruiser. Referee Joe Tangaro and Lee Warren.
Can you imagine how Jesse Barr feels right now? His partner is none other than Dick the Bruiser, and how's that for a surprise? Sam Muchnick finding time in the busy schedule of the Bruiser, so it's the Bruiser and Jesse Barr against 313-pound Buzz Tyler and Mike George. The Bruiser takes a quick look at Mike George, and he's squared off with a big man. The Bruiser almost daring George to do something from behind. Mike George telling Buzz Tyler something. Tyler outweighing the Bruiser by about 60 pounds. The Bruiser twists the arm of Big Buzz Tyler. Tyler says, hey, the Bruiser looked at the flower on the trunks of Tyler. I think he wanted to rip that flower right off the tights of Buzz Tyler. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get that flower embroidered on the tights of Buzz Tyler and rip off the flower. Probably reminds him of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Of course, Flair has butterflies embroidered on some of his tights. And what a Donnybrook that will be when it's Dick the Bruiser against Nature Boy Ric Flair in a lumberjack match. Other wrestlers from the card surrounding the ring. And if either the Bruiser or Flair go outside, they'll be pitched right back in. That came, of course, at the request of Dick the Bruiser after his last battle against Ric Flair. Ended in a draw because both men were counted out outside the ring. Flair dove out of the ring a few times, especially right at the finish. Finally, the Bruiser ran out after him. The Bruiser says, give me a knee to Jesse Barr. And Barr's knee is up there for the head of Mike George. Here's young Jesse Barr, the forearm smash at the urging of Dick the Bruiser. Barr twisting the arm of George. An elbow smash to the shoulder of Mike George. George pulled the hair of Barr to yank him down. Tag is made to Buzz Tyler. Tyler with a kick to the back of Barr. Tyler slamming that forearm into the back of Jesse Barr and spinning the arm around. What a pair of main events that is coming up. The lumberjack match, of course, between Dick the Bruiser and Nature Boy Ric Flair, plus Ken Patera defending the Missouri State title against Ted DiBiase. DiBiase has been hot, especially since that tremendous stalemate DiBiase had against Patera when the time limit ran out in that match. Patera was trapped in the figure four leg lock. DiBiase felt that if there had been another 30 seconds or so in the match, Patera would have had to give up or suffer severe damage to the knee. But Patera did not quit. He retained the Missouri State title, and DiBiase has been blazing ever since, in particular that tremendous win against King Kong Brody, a man who had never been pinned in St. Louis by anyone other than the world champion until Ted DiBiase turned the trick. Brody, a bloody mess after a brawl outside the ring with DiBiase, and then DiBiase trapped Brody with a front rolling cradle. Look at that bridge by Jesse Barr. Beautiful bridge by Barr, and it allows him to escape the wrist lock and come up with a hammer lock on Mike George. Splendid work by Jesse Barr. Mike George caught in the hammerlock of Jesse Barr. Barr trying to get that little something extra with that hammerlock to punish Mike George. Yanking out the arm, jerking the tendons. But George grabs the hair of Barr and slams Barr head first into the top turnbuckle. Then George makes sure that Barr stays in that corner for Buzz Tyler. Tyler lifts Barr. Body slam by the 313-pounder. Flying elbow drop by Tyler. Here comes the Bruiser. And Tyler's pulled off a Barr. Barr pitched into the corner where Mike George's knee is up. Mike George, look at Tyler, take a look at the Bruiser, and the Bruiser says, anytime. Barr pitched to the ropes. Oh, Jesse Barr nails George with a kick and then tags the Bruiser. The Bruiser bangs a fist to the head of Mike George. There's the knee of Jesse Barr again. George grabs Barr. The Bruiser rams George's head into Jesse Barr. And now the Bruiser pats Jesse Barr on the head. Well, I had to use you when I found the spot. Jesse Barr groggy, but so's Mike George. The Bruiser, he'll use anything, including his own partner as a battering ram. George pitched into the buckle. And there's the stomach claw. The stomach claw by Dick the Bruiser on Mike George. George doubled up by the Bruiser's stomach claw.
5 minutes have elapsed, 15 minutes left.
Mike George gouges the eyes of the Bruiser. A punch to the head from Mike George. Another blast to the head from George. Mike George, a big opportunity for him right here as he and Tyler against Barr and the Bruiser. Anybody who comes up with any kind of victory over the Bruiser really has something to brag about. The Bruiser muscling up, and he won't let George pitch his head to the top turnbuckle. But George is rammed into that buckle. The Bruiser grabs Mike George's curly hair and slams that head into the buckle once more. The Bruiser goes for the pin. Mike George shoves the Bruiser off. And then George tags Buzz Tyler. The Bruiser's more than anxious and ready. Tyler, he is big. He almost dwarfs the Bruiser. And now Tyler complaining about the Bruiser trying to rip his tights. Just think what would happen if the Bruiser got a hold of Ric Flair's one of his robes. He'd rip that thing to smithereens. Of course, according to Ric Flair, the Bruiser doesn't have the kind of class needed to wear a robe like Ric Flair does. Look at the Bruiser staring into the eyes of Buzz Tyler as they test strike a kick to the stomach. Another kick to the midsection from Dick the Bruiser, the world's most dangerous wrestler. Down goes Tyler. Tyler squirms about, tries to come up. The Bruiser has tremendous power. You ought to see him on a bench press. Tyler. The Bruiser says to Jesse Barr, I'm bringing him to you, kid. And that's why he brought him here. That's great, says the Bruiser. Well, Jesse Barr has the amateur credentials. He has the fundamentals. And Dick the Bruiser is going to teach him about a few other things that'll come in handy in professional wrestling wars. Jesse Barr reaches over the Bruiser and belts Tyler. Tyler having a fit. But as long as the Bruiser has those hands locked, there's not a whole lot Tyler can do. Tag is made to Jesse Barr, and the Bruiser leaves that wrist lock right there for Jesse. Barr giving away more than 80 pounds, almost 90 pounds to Tyler. Down goes Buzz Tyler. And that shows that 90 pounds is not all that big a difference if you know how to handle leverage, how to handle balance, as Jesse Barr did in that instance. It's a double wrist lock now by Barr on Buzz Tyler. Tyler grabs the tights, pulls Barr to the corner. Here comes Mike George, and Tyler hanging on to Barr. Barr, no way to defend himself, but he battles back gamely. Down goes Jesse Barr after a punch to the head, and the Bruiser stalks that apron restlessly. Mike George on the attack against Jesse Barr. Body slam from George, a hard body slam. That one stung. Knee drop to the chest, trying to knock the wind out of Barr. Here comes the Bruiser. Barr didn't need the help, but the Bruiser was there just in case. And now the Bruiser, Lee Warren, nearly square off, but the Bruiser keeps his cool and goes out of the ring at Warren's suggestion.
Hey, it's not like the Bruiser. We've gone almost 8.5 minutes, and he has been so calm, cool, collected.
Well, he's trying to help the youngster, Jesse Barr, handle himself inside that ring. He's given him advice. He's tried to involve him in the offense of the match. And Barr's done quite well, but right now he's in trouble, and Dick the Bruiser knows it. Barr in trouble, trying to get over to make that tag, but Buzz Tyler doesn't let him get there. A punch right to the jaw by Tyler. That size of Tyler and of Mike George paying off. Barr trying to go between the legs, but Tyler stopped him by grabbing the tights, and then he tags Mike George, who kicks Jesse Barr in the ribs. The Bruiser reaching over for the tag that never came, not that time. Knee lift by George, puts Jesse Barr down. Good move by Jesse Barr, nice trip, but it's not quite enough. The Bruiser can't quite get to the tag with Jesse Barr. Here comes Buzz Tyler. Tyler and George tagging regularly and quickly right now. Barr trapped in that ring. He has not been able to get over to the Bruiser for the last few minutes. Another punch, or is it a chop? Was it a chop to the throat by Buzz Tyler? Barr is yanked over by Tyler. Tyler covers Barr. Here comes the Bruiser again. No chance at a pin. And the Bruiser pounds on the head of Buzz Tyler. Here comes George after the Bruiser. George and Tyler pounding on the Bruiser.
10 minutes have elapsed, 10 minutes left.
The Bruiser having come to Jesse Barr's rescue. Barr wants to make a tag, but the Bruiser wasn't there. Now the Bruiser shoves Barr at Tyler, but Barr is still a little bit groggy, and he wasn't able to fight back, although he's trying with a lot of spunk and a lot of spirit to get over to the Bruiser. Jesse Barr still caught in that ring. He's giving it his best shot, but he's been double teamed a lot by two bigger men. George lifts Barr. Greco-Roman back body drop. That could be it. That could spell the finish for Jesse Barr. George covers Barr. Here comes the Bruiser. Barr pitches George off without help, but the Bruiser again was there if he was needed. Jesse Barr taking a battering now from Tyler and George. The crowd yells at Barr, make the tag. He tries to get to the Bruiser, but Tyler cuts him off just short. Side saddle suplex by Buzz Tyler. He goes to the pin. There's a Bruiser to the rescue again. He knocks Tyler off a bar before the referees chase the Bruiser to the corner. Mike George with that knee up. And Jesse Barr took it right in the head. Barr is in trouble. No doubt about that now. Jesse Barr needs a tag. He's tried with everything he's got, with all the determination in the world. But I'll tell you, two guys like George and Tyler are pretty hard to handle for anyone. Barr trying to get to the Bruiser. Can't make it again. George lifts Barr into the air and then just slams him down on his back. A type of backbreaker, a type of body slam by George. Barr lifted up by Mike George, and Lee Warren chases Dick the Bruiser back to his corner. Barr's head slammed into the mat. Tag made to Tyler. George cuts off Barr so he can't get to the Bruiser, and then Tyler flails away at Barr from behind. It's like a volcano in this corner. You can just see the Bruiser seething, steaming, ready to explode. But he can't get the chance to make that tag with his partner, Jesse Barr. Barr slammed into the turnbuckle again by Tyler. Tyler wants another tag. The Bruiser steps into the ring. He charges into that corner, trying to help his partner, trying to keep George off of Barr. The Bruiser pounds on George. Tyler pushed to the corner by Jesse Barr. Both men in headlocks. And George rammed head first into the head of Buzz Tyler. Make the tag, yells the Bruiser. Barr takes time for a drop kick. And then Barr charges over and tags the Bruiser. He's in there legally now. Dick the Bruiser goes to the stomach on Mike George, pounding away with short jabs. George tags Buzz Tyler. The Bruiser there to grab Tyler. George stays in that ring too. They try to double team the Bruiser. Jesse Barr catches George with a shot in the midsection. The Bruiser yells at Jesse Barr, grab George. Give him a taste of their own medicine, yells the Bruiser. He grabs Tyler by the hair. George grabs by the hair again. George and Tyler slam together as Dick the Bruiser takes command of that ring. He's the king of the hill right now. Outside goes Buzz Tyler. The Bruiser going out after him. He grabs Tyler and slams him into the ring steps. The Bruiser again slamming Tyler into the steps. Dick the Bruiser, look out, he's coming our way. Buzz Tyler being slammed into the press table by Dick the Bruiser. Jesse Barr cautions the Bruiser to watch out for the count. The Bruiser shoves Buzz Tyler into the ring. We have blood splattered all over our table here at ringside. Apparently Buzz Tyler has suffered some sort of cut, either his nose or his mouth. Blood all over the table here at ringside, and now blood pouring from the nose of Buzz Tyler. The Bruiser has opened up the nose of Tyler when he slammed him into the press table. Jesse Barr's knees up there when the Bruiser wants it, and the Bruiser mounts the ropes. The Bruiser crawling up for the atomic drop. The crowd screams, they're standing, and the Bruiser scores with the atomic drop. Dick the Bruiser forces down the shoulders of Buzz Tyler. The count of 1, 2, 3, that's it. Dick the Bruiser and Jesse Barr went from Buzz Tyler and Mike George. The Bruiser ripping on the bloody nose of Tyler. Barr and George battering each other. The referee's trying to restore some order. Tyler, the bloody Buzz Tyler, knocked out of the ring. Mike George battering Jesse Barr, and then the Bruiser chases Mike George out. Buzz Tyler, a bloody mess. Compliments of Dick the Bruiser as Mike George helps his partner to the dressing room. It's the Bruiser and Jesse Barr. After the atomic drop of Dick the Bruiser, they're the winners, and here's Mickey.
In 14 minutes and 59 seconds, the winner of the bout, Jesse Barr and Dick the Bruiser.
There you have it. When you talk about wrestling at the Chase, yes, I'm partial to wrestling here in St. Louis. I love it from anywhere, but wrestling at the Chase is what I grew up on. It's what Darla grew up on, and I assume a lot of yous that live in the St. Louis region grew up on it. Sam Muchnick did a fantastic job of putting a program together, him and Mr. Koppler in 1959, that just a handshake deal, put it together. It'd be nice nowadays if we could shake a hand and live up to what they did for all the years they did it. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I hope you have a happy holidays, and we'll be right back here next Sunday night at 8 p.m. And we're getting close to kicking off 2024, leading up to SICW Fan Fest 2. But don't forget, before that, Saturday, January the 13th, we're back at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. Steel cage match. The Night Train, Gary Jackson against a Telecon special guest referee, Danny Boy.
Oh, wow.
And locked in a steel cage. 8 or 9 big matches that night. That's the show that kicks the road to the SICW Fan Fest in May. That's January 13th at the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. We want to see you there, and we'll see you back here next Sunday night.
got a message, homie? message, homie? You got a message, homie? You got a message, homie? You got a message, homie?
Thanks you guys for watching Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Old school wrestling is the best. So thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas from Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Love you guys.